What a week it has been, a historic one at that. You could rub your eyes on disbelief or say that you predicted so, but we have had the best week in about almost 3 years' time. And for a sixth week, actually, we've managed to see an advance coming in. But yeah, last week, it was something magical.
It was something magical, and I don't think the rub-off effect of magic actually fades away. I mean, when magic happens, you actually get enamored for some period of time. And that is what I think will happen in terms of the market setting. So while the percentage gain may not be that large, but the market positioning, I guess, is very clear, which is that you want to stay on the course. You don't want to wait for big declines. The market will not give you a big decline. And market, in a sense, is now suddenly getting a big leader, which in a sense was not on everyone's radar, and that's banking for you. If one really looks at the market setting for the week gone by, big gains for banks, and that in a sense would be the talking point. And the market positioning in large cap stocks is such that the total combination retail versus FI, which is what I always look at to understand the market. The FI long is 57% and the retail long is 44%, which means that even though, yes, it was a monster week, nothing short of magical, but the market positioning in large cap stock is still not very extended, which means that both technically, this market is not very overbought. The direction of the market, it is headed higher. Liquidity, I think, is very clear that it is coming back. And in terms of momentum, I think it is evident that it is on the right side. Since we've put a very big week behind us, the market may easily consolidate. That would be healthy. But frankly, I think in terms of a trend, we are headed higher, as simple as that.
Yeah, looking at the long short positioning as well, it seems like there's further headroom and significant headroom from these levels.
Yeah, so if you're at an all-time high, you would say there has to be an excitement, there has to be participation, there has to be euphoria, and there has to be, technically stocks have to be overbought. That is not the positioning. I mean, the bank Nifty just about cut out loose. The positioning in the FI long is only 57, retail is 44. So even last week, it was more short covering and less of fresh buying. And these are typical signs that the turn in large cap stocks are just about started. We are not at the end of the rally. So we are at the beginning of what could be called as a momentum stroke liquidity driven rally in large cap stocks. But the interesting bit, Aisha, here is that, okay, now what do we do? I mean, is it that good old debate of large cap versus small cap? And I think that is a point which we really need to ponder over. Last week, Nifty appreciated by 3.5%. But within that same time frame, the small cap index appreciated by just 1%. And we've seen always the reverse. So for me, this is a telltale sign of which way you should look, which index I think needs more attention. See, it's sequenced so nicely. Nifty is up 3.5, Bank Nifty of 5.5, small cap 1 and mid cap 2.5. The most underperforming or the biggest underperforming one is Bank Nifty, which in a sense has really hit out of the park. Yeah. So the market would be centered around banks because FIs are coming back. Market action would be centered around heavyweights and large cap stocks. I think small cap stocks should take it easy, and it will not hurt you if you rotate 15 to even 20% of your capital back from small and mid cap stocks to large cap stocks. I continue to maintain that view.
Yep, that's exactly how the script played out, at least for the markets in the last week, as you can see on your screens. A quick check-in on the global markets as well, and you had most of the indices on Friday's trading session. On Wall Street, that rose. It was the S&P 500 that actually hit a new high on the back of the November jobs report that came in. This morning, though, it's a little bit mixed when it comes to the Asian screen. China is looking a little bit tempered, largely on the deflationary pressures. But for the rest of Asia, it's a bit of a mixed bag. And back home, we'll be looking at a lot of events this week, critical to map out what happens when it comes to the FOMC meet. You've got the CPI data as well. That's back home, as well as a lot of IPO action, DOMS, India Shelter, Inox India, a lot of these IPOs in action this week, Nikunj.
So, Avan, look, IPO action, there is nothing which could be called as very large or very different.
I guess FOMC maybe takes.
So FOMC would be important because this in a sense would be the last FOMC meeting, and this could also be curtains down to what you would get from global central bankers, and then next 15 days post the FOMC meeting, global markets will have to fend themselves. But given the context of where the bond yields have moved from 5% to 4.2% or 5.1 becoming 4.1, this FOMC meeting in a sense could be crucial to set the tone for the last 15 days and initial start for 2024. So from a market standpoint, given last week we did get a fillip into flows because of the crack in bond yield, the FOMC meeting in a sense would be important per se. I don't think markets are worried. I don't think markets are anxious, but markets would definitely like to get a reassurance that somewhere inflation or indirect hint that inflation is showing signs of cooling off or inflation is showing signs of peaking out. So I think that in a sense would be important. Barring that, there is no calendar action. I don't think CPI data is relevant from a market standpoint. IPO action, I mean, there is nothing large in terms of a Magnus Opus IPO which we can talk about. So it's just going to be by and large more like a routine week for everything else.
Routine, except for the fact, Nikunj, that ET now has bagged 3 awards at the NT Awards 2023. So from promo campaign of a news channel, which was our budget promo, to the promo for the channel. And congratulations, Nikunj, we have the best business news anchor sitting in our midst.
Thank you very much. It's
Where's the party?
It's very humbling, and we just want to thank everybody for this.
Yeah, because everyone has really put in a lot for all of these promos and everything that you see on the screen.
What we show on screen, there is a lot behind screen.
Exactly.
And that behind the scene, I think, is far more important. Like when you look at a good building, there is always a base building which happens, and I think that is what happens at the ETNA office. What you see on air, I guess, are anchors, but what is behind is our entire production team, our entire promo team, and it's a very humbling and a very big honor for all of us to really accept this award on behalf of everyone. So thank you very much, and thank you for your wishes, and thank you for your love.
Okay, and ET Now Swadesh as well actually won big, so a big congratulations there, because Ajay Sharma as well won the business news anchor, and then we won for the news program for business as well. So big thanks to all of our viewers and everyone behind the scenes. But